Oh, hi, Space Freaks. This is Marty DeBurgi, the official editor of the Star Wars Collector's Archive podcast. What I've done is I've gone back and enhanced a previously unenhanced episode, which basically means I put images along with it. This is for it to go on the YouTube page, because now we're putting all of our episodes on YouTube so that they're cataloged forever. This is kind of a fun episode. It's neat to listen to something that happened a couple years ago. Lots of talk about Celebration 6. The first archive party is mentioned. In the beginning, we were not quite as altruistic. We talked about paying sponsors back, which we never did. All the money went to charity. One of my favorite Chive Cast moments begins at around the 23-minute mark, where I start talking about a carded figure. I don't know where it came from, and I eventually realize I bought it from Steve. A debut of the Unloved drop. The first ever poll about Hammerhead's clothing. You could get Star Wars figures for under $120. And then we asked a question about Jonathan Robinson that would eventually be answered several years later with episode number 73. And the abandoned idea of the Wampus. So enjoy this. Let me know what you think about this sort of recut, the editor's cut. And enjoy this old audio magazine dedicated to vintage Star Wars toys and memorabilia.
Well, I'll be thinking about swimming Hammerhead the rest of the night.
Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the Star Wars saga began. And Kenner continues the excitement. Star Wars figures. The Empire Strikes Back turn of the Jedi.
Welcome to the Star Wars Collector's Archive podcast. It's the Chive Cast.
Newest news on oldest toys. From bubble bath to belt buckles. From 12 packs to 2 packs.
New boss, Alien Bounty Hunter. From the Star Wars collection.
Watch out, Black Vader!
We bring the world of vintage Star Wars memorabilia alive with informative features and personal collecting stories.
Offer expires December 31st, 1979.
And R2-D2 with stethoscope.
The Supreme Master, the Emperor.
Brought to you by the Star Wars Collector's Archive. The SWCA.com. With your hosts, Skye Payne
Steven Zubaka.
and Stephen B. Denley.
I've got you now, Ben Kenobi.
Star Wars, early bird certificate.
On this month's Vintage Pod, Gus Lopez unveils exclusive information about several Celebration 6 events. Also in this month's issue, Broc Walker, Skye and Steve talk about the basketball hero known as Hammerhead. Other topics include 20-pack offerless rarity and the new quantification of the yellow bubble disease. In our vintage vocab section, we define spray ops. We talk about unloved jungle gyms and a nuggety blueprint. The Market Watch discusses proofs that sell for too little and graded toys that sell for far too much. All of this and the meaning of the word Wampus on this month's Chive Cast Vintage Pod. Wampa Wampa, Space Freaks.
Welcome to the Chive Cast for March 2012.
Yep, it's episode 26, and Steve, actually, we should be honest with the audience here, with our Space Freaks. We recorded this a couple nights ago, but then I lost the audio to the intro.
Yes.
So this is a little bit later, but it's good, Steve. We'll tighten things up a little bit.
All right.
See, as far as I remember, the main thing we talked about before the news was that you've moved. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm recording from La Cañada, California, just above the smog in Los Angeles. So.
And yeah, that's the town that's spelled La Canada.
Right,
But it's got a little like Mexican hat on there, which makes it
Yes.
Cañada.
Cañada, yeah.
So that's our big fear. So you're going to have to listen, guys, and figure out if Steve gets kind of L.A. on us. Now, I have to say, I've edited it already, the rest of the show, Steve, and I've noticed you start kind of talking about how you're too cool for this and you're too cool for that. And you don't
I thought I did that already.
No, I'm just telling you, you're going L.A., and I'm just a little worried that you're losing your Santa Barbara roots. But anyways, we got some huge news coming up. We're going to be interviewing His Imperial Dignitude himself, Gus Lopez. And before we get to that big news, of course, I have to have the movie thought of the month.
Yes.
And you remember last month, Steve? I was like, "Go Star Wars," right?
Oh yeah, you were gung ho.
I was gung ho. I'm like, "Hey, the expanded universe, it's great. You got to read these books. You got to see the Blu-rays. You got to watch Clone Wars. Yay!" Well, this month, because we're doing Hammerhead, I have to go backwards and say, boo, Star Wars. I'm just so mad at what they did to Hammerhead, Steve.
Oh, man. Poor guy.
I mean, what they did was they took what I thought was the scariest, most menacing looking alien in the whole trilogy, and they made him like some kind of peace-loving
Philanthropist.
Yeah, philanthropist and tree hugger. I mean, literally, I believe mates with trees. I haven't looked that up yet, but yeah, and that just bugs me. And I think throughout the episode you'll hear as we talk about who was Hammerhead. Some thoughts as to whether or not he plays basketball. Some thoughts as to whether or not he's an Olympic swimmer. Of all the things you're going to hear on this month's episode, I think the closest thing we found, Steve, is that I believe Hammerhead is a human trafficker.
Yes, I think that's probably the most accurate.
I think that's the most accurate. One of the most vile, disgusting professions you can have in this galaxy or any other.
Yeah,
And
see, that's scum and villainy right there.
that's scum and villainy. Right, yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi isn't like, never will you find the more hive of scum, villainy, and people who are really fond of redwoods. Anyways, it's been enough of our yakking. Hey, Steve?
I think you're right.
So let's get to we have actual breaking news.
All right.
I was thinking maybe we could call it like news so fresh it breaks through the bubble in transit.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, because sometimes you ship a figure and the old plastic breaks through, and we're actually going to be talking about yellow bubbles later. And sometimes the bubble gets brittle and the figure breaks right through, and that's this news about Celebration 6. And it's only here on the Chive Cast. So let's give Gus a call, hey?
All right, let's hear it.
I don't want to grow up, but my toys are
Gus,
kids.
they got a million toys that toys are Gus, you can play with.
All right, Steve, who are we here with?
Gus Lopez.
How's it going, Gus?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Not too bad.
Yeah, we're doing great. We're just we're excited because this is our first sort of official-ish Celebration 6 announcement. So what is it, Gus?
Well, we're going to, this is kind of outside the official collecting track things, which we can talk about too if you want. But, for the Star Wars Collectors Archive, we're going to do the first ever archive party. And we're going to be announcing that officially soon and with more details.
Right. We've been working on the days and exactly how it's going to look. But this is going to be, Steve and I will be there kind of emceeing and a lot of the fun stuff that we've been talking about, like the C-3PO's contest, the C-3PO's eating contest. But we all know that Steve's going to win that hands down.
Right.
I'm bringing the 3POs.
We know it, Gus. That's why we wanted you on board. Besides the fact that you run the archive, you also are the guy who runs the cereal.
Yeah.
I'm actually already training for that. I've been eating raw stale cereal for the last month or so I'll be ready.
Yeah, he'll be ready. Yeah.
This is going to be a 28-year-old cereal. Or it's 28-year-old cereal.
Wow. So
oh man.
It's going to be 18
we'll
years
need a
older than
position
Steve.
on hand.
Wow. Yeah. That'll be great, and we'll have little sheets saying that we can't sue the archive.
Right.
Waivers.
Sue Kellogg's. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll have our Give a Show projector showing New Hope. We'll have our Bop Bag anger management, and we'll be soliciting the fans and everybody to contribute it as they can. And actually, Gus, we've been talking about it, and we're going to be having sort of sponsors, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. That so since we want to, obviously it costs a little bit to put this thing on. What we're going to do is have ask some of our collector friends if want to sponsor it, and what will happen? They'll get some perks out of doing that. That will folks who are interested can contact you, Skye, if they want to sponsor, and basically they'll get some perks out of it, and then as we'll be able to recoup actually some of the costs of the sponsorship. So it's not going to be very expensive to do it. But if people are interested, they should contact you.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely have some cost to run this kind of thing. But we hope to make this like a tradition at every celebration. We really want to kind of have an archive party at every celebration. So we're going to kind of pilot it this time. And I think some of the things you mentioned are pretty exciting. I think we'll have some surprises there as well. So.
Yeah, it should be fun. So if you're interested. So the idea behind the sponsorship is just that it costs too much money for, Gus, Steve, and I, or whatever. Just say like, let's just throw it at it. So we thought, why not get the collectors involved, and then we're going to sell tickets. They're not going to be very expensive. But the money from those tickets will then go to pay back the investors. So it shouldn't be too much of an investment, and you get some cool exclusive little doodads that our combined brains come up with. So
yeah,
it's going to be a good time.
This will be at the Rosen Center too, so we'll, so it'll be kind of like a nice place to hold it and so on.
Yep,
so I think people will really enjoy it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think hopefully by the next episode of the Chive Cast, we should have a lot more information, all the details hammered out or hammer-headed out as it is. That's our figure of the month, Gus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thanks for coming on, Gus. And we definitely whenever more information about the collector tracks comes out, we'd love to have you on too to talk about those. I don't know what you're at liberty to talk about, but definitely if you're in a chatty mood, we're all ears.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, a few things. I mean, I've sent a couple things about the collecting track. So that I can say now is we're expanding it quite a bit this year. So it's in the past we used to just have panels and talks and a few other things, giveaways. And we're definitely going to continue that as in the past. But we are doing a whole bunch of brand new things. We want to take it to a new level and have the collecting track really be a destination at Celebration. So we actually have multiple rooms with activities going on. We're going to have the main panel area where we're going to have the talks and the panels, but we're also going to have what we're calling the social area, where we're going to do things like the plans are, these plans could change, but we're going to have like kind of smaller talks, more interactive talks there. We're going to have podcasts there, various meet and greet type things. We're going to be probably run some commercials, collectibles commercials, and we'll have display cases with stuff. So there's a lot of stuff we're going to be planning for this new area. And there are a few other things we're working on, probably announced later, but we're going to do more social media role in this. I mentioned the display cases, and then we're, of course, going to bring back the giveaways, and we got a great surprise coming there. So I think people will really get a kick out. Each time we try to kind of top the previous celebration, so hopefully we'll pull it off this time.
Wow, that sounds great. That's wow. I hadn't Steve, have you heard that yet about the whole little areas?
No.
Oh,
that sounds great. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Wow, we got more than one piece of news here, Steve. That's good.
Always good.
All right, great, awesome. Well,
yeah.
Well, thanks as always, Gus, for your imperial dignitude, surveilling over your podcast empire here.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. Yeah, and happy to kind of another time we can talk as we start to announce more stuff. In the next few months, we'll have a ton about Celebration coming out, so we're ready to start announcing stuff. And as we, I'm getting a lot of submissions now for panels and talks, so pretty soon we'll start announcing some of those. I'm already starting to close on some of those and got some new ideas that people are proposing, which will be fun.
Right. That's
cool.
Great. Well, it's always our favorite part of the celebration, and looks like it will be again this year. And now with the sort of the archive party to sort of cap it all off, I think it's going to be sort of a great new tradition. So.
Yeah, it's only going to get better from here. So it's good.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks,
Gus.
Before we get back to the news, there have been a few details about the party that have now been cemented since the interview with Gus. The party will be Thursday, August 23rd, from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Rosen Center. So that's Thursday night, the first night of the convention. If you want to sponsor, there are only a limited amount of sponsorships available. So contact me, chivecast@gmail.com, and just put sponsorship in the header. Basically, the way it works is you're going to front some money, you're going to be paid a lot of it back, and then you're going to get whatever cool exclusives and the satisfaction of knowing that you are partially responsible for the greatest party in Celebration history. All right, let's get back to Steve and the rest of the news.
Watch out!
It's Kenner's News. It's Kenner's News. It's Kenner's News.
Here's the news. It's Kenner's News. News from Kenner. Here's the news.
It's Kenner's News.
All right, Steve. Well, I'm afraid we're doing what they call burying the lead.
It's Kenner's News.
So, that's where you tell a news story, but the really important news story you're saving.
Yes.
So there is, in fact, another piece of Celebration 6 news, which I just found out looking through the forum, Steve. Speed dating is returning.
See, that's just nothing but trouble right there.
So I want you all to go. It's gonna be probably part of the listener party. Maybe advice for Steve on how to snare a comely lass at the speed dating.
See, that's when I will just quietly slip out of the building and nah.
No. Anyway,
nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble. I just saw that. We won't make Steve do that. At least we won't say we will.
See, that's when you just kidnap me, and that's all you got to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm like a small guy, so it really only takes probably a couple of you to just
throw you in a burlap sack and be like, "Oh no, ladies, this isn't for us. The guy in here, he's awesome. He's he's nice, he's handsome, he's a really cool dude. You should get to know him. Let me know to the dude."
You just dump me on the floor.
Do you know what a beering pilot
already
is?
Going south.
Oh yeah, so we're all excited for that. And then I don't know. It's been a pretty cool month as far as news on the boards go. I did want to put this out there too, Steve. I think it's worked so well having a tweeter duder. I think we should, and we also have our market watchers.
Yeah, our correspondents.
Our correspondents from the field. So let's keep that up. And what do you say we maybe have someone who would like represent us on like the Imperial Gunnery?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Absolutely.
So there's someone out here, just because we're not so good at even posting on Rebel Scum all the time.
No.
So it'd be good to have someone like who maybe posts there and would maybe sort of link and say, hey, they've got a new show up, and maybe sort of tell us if anything new or interesting's happened.
We need some PR agents is what we need.
Yeah, we need some PR agents and just some eyes across the pond, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're interested in that, email us chivecast@gmail.com. Although I imagine we'll be getting a flood of emails about the sponsorship opportunities for the party. But and then Steve, I don't know if you got to see the yellow bubble percentage thread, but this was
I saw it when it first started, and it just kind of keeps going and going.
Yeah, so this was it was by Miss the 80s, who I believe emailed us at one point. So Miss the 80s is the name. I think I remember it's a dude, but I thought it was Miss the 80s, like Mademoiselle the 80s. But I'm not sure of his real name. But anyways, he posted this really great breakdown of all the AFA results for all yellow figures.
Right.
And he broke it down, and it's just, I mean, everybody knows, okay, not everybody, but okay. So if you're kind of new to the collecting, some bubbles turn yellow over time. The bubbles that hold the figures. And we've always known that certain bubbles turn yellower quicker.
Right.
And this is just really good hard data.
Oh, yeah. It's like, it just pretty much puts it in print as far as the sample size that they have. It's pretty much like sets the trend for it.
Right. I think, there are a lot of good points about it being a self-selecting group. So it's not.
Right.
There's obviously flaws with this because a lot of people won't send something in if it's yellow. But still, I think the data is great. 1.7 of all 12 backs are yellowed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
1.7. Steve, have you ever seen a yellowed 12 back?
Not that I can remember, honestly.
No. And then 0.3% of 21 back Empire Strikes Back. That's just unbelievable. And what's interesting is you start to see a trend where it gets more and more.
Yep.
And I figure it must just be different plastic, right?
Yeah, that's what I'd always heard, is just the stuff that was coming out later, whatever grade of plastic, it just was more prone to deteriorating. So
right. So just the quality went down over time.
Yeah.
And then certain card back, so then it seems like the break really was around the 32 back.
Right.
Because it was no higher than 4% up and
then just like incrementally gets higher and higher after that. Yeah.
And then 32 backs is 13%, 41, 20%, all the way up to Empire Strikes Back, he gets as high as 43% with 45 backs.
Yeah.
I just have an image for some reason of the Black Bespin security guard with a really muddy bubble. I don't know.
Yeah, those later Empire figures, and then it just gets worse from there.
Yeah, and then Return of the Jedi, it's just terrible. I mean, 77 backs, 65%. But then, of course, the granddaddy of them all is the Power of the Force.
Yeah, that's, 75%. It's rare you ever see any that aren't just regular. So
right.
Yeah, it's cool that this little system pretty much, it just shows the trend within. It still captures the whole thing, even though it's just with graded stuff. But yeah.
Right. Well, it's cool because you have people who look at it and say what you will about AFA, and we have said what we will about AFA.
But we have.
They do have a standard for what is why and what is not why.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a long debate about, is it worth paying the premium for non-yellow bubbles when they're going to yellow?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that, Steve?
I guess when I was collecting carded figures, I didn't let the yellowing thing bother me that much. But I also didn't collect graded stuff, so I don't know. It's just, for me, it doesn't mean that much because it's eventually going to happen, and when you see such a stark contrast between, because I collected a lot of Return of the Jedi figures, and I just knew going in that, well, I'm either really going to get frustrated or I can just kind of chip away at this and be happy with it. So it just depends, but
right.
Yeah, it's just, you can tell it's gonna happen. So
right, it's funny because I think there's a couple different ways of, take for instance the Power of the Force. So the figures that came out in 1985,
right,
and certain figures have 100% yellow rate. And then I take as an example, I collect Emperor and Chewbacca, and so I look at them and I see Chewbacca's 92.5% yellow and Emperor's 96.5% yellow. I think some people look at that and they say, oh, wow, well, I've got to find that 4% and I'll pay an arm and a leg. Whereas I just said, and I'm done looking. I'm just not going to look anymore. I don't, hey, I don't have to be the one guy who has one. Now I know that I have, the best possible condition of both of those, more or less, that I can just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah, the B-Wing pilot fared slightly better. Do you have a clear bubble B-Wing pilot, POTF?
No, I don't. No, I do have a clear Return of the Jedi 77 back that was actually from the Lucas archives, from
cool.
that auction at Celebration 4.
Right, yeah.
But that one somehow, it came out fine, and it hasn't really shown any signs yet. But no, Power of the Force, I don't actually have one on card now, but the one I had was very yellow. But,
so you're doing that thing where you're too cool to have production carded, Steve? Is that it?
No. I just keep it much more subdued than it used to be.
Right.
I guess.
Well, actually, I had a funny story. So I was going through. I'm working on this. I've been working on some trades lately. I was hoping maybe we could talk about that at some point because I think it's fun to talk about trades.
Yeah.
And I was looking through my figures trying to get one of the things I was trading. And I found a figure I completely forgot I owned. Does that ever happen to you, Steve?
Yeah, I think so. It's maybe not a carded figure, but definitely stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, where did that come from?
Well, that's the thing. I don't collect that many different things, right? Basically Emperor, Chewbacca, and 21 backs.
Yeah.
And I was looking through, I was like, holy cow, it's a Death Squad Commander 21 back. We were talking about this.
Yeah, you were saying you were wanting a Jedi one, right?
Yeah, I was saying I want a Jedi proof for the Death Squad Commander.
Yeah.
But I collect Empire Strikes Back 21 backs, and I was always looking for the Death Squad Commander, and I don't know how So, hey, if you remember selling one to me, could you email us at chivecast@gmail.com? It must have been at one of the California Club meetings.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Dang, I wonder if it came from me.
It might have, Steve.
Because
terrible.
I think I had one of those at one of those meetings. Oh man, that's funny.
It might be. Anyways.
I bet you it is.
Wow, we're getting old, Steve. I feel like I'm turning 40. You probably feel like you're turning 10. This is terrible. Anyways, I thought that was funny, just the idea of just completely forgetting a fairly valuable carded figure. Yeah, that made me pretty happy. We got a pretty good email from. Okay, so this is the thing, right? So Brisbane Mike emailed to say that we said his name right. but we called him Brisbane Mike and Brisbane Mike interchangeably the entire show.
I think it's Brisbane. That was just but you know.
I think it is too, but it was just great. It was like, is it A or B? Yes, absolutely. Good job.
Yeah. I think I got a private message from him with the market stuff where I think he just said basically, I'll just go by Michael now, and I think that's a good idea.
No way, man! I want Brisbane. That sounds cool, Brisbane Mike. So I believe. Did you get that he sent that to you too about the football analogy that was made?
No, I hadn't seen that till you sent it to me.
Yeah, so
that's great.
There's this great football. I guess he was reading a football blog. I don't care about football. I don't read that many blogs. But there you go. But I guess he does. Boy, I hope this was Brisbane Mike.
I was going to say, I thought maybe it was you because you didn't actually attach a name to it.
I didn't attach a name. I thought it was him. But it doesn't make that much sense for him to know that much about American football. Anyways, let's just pretend it's him because it's him half the time anyways. If it's not, email us at cavcast@gmail.com. But anyways, he mentions how, see, Steve, back in the old days, I would have gone back and edited it out to make sure that we didn't offend anybody. But it's episode 26. We're golden. We made it this far. All right, so he was reading this quote. Niners coach Jim Harbaugh wanted a big physical receiver last year. He got Braylon Edwards. That's like wanting a Boba Fett action figure for Christmas and getting Greedo instead. So, that's a very specific reference.
Oh, this is cool. It's like a little Greedo postscript. So
yeah,
it's good that we got
a little postscript. And also, if you asked for a pin, Steve, about a year and a half ago, I said I would send out pins that were left over from Celebration 5.
Oh, yeah.
And I kept all the addresses, and I got around to it, and I sent them out. So
awesome. Well done, man.
Yeah, the tortoise wins the race every time.
Okay.
I did like this thread about 20-back rarity.
Oh, yeah.
Which was just neat. It was just someone was asking about why can't I find debut 20-backs, and I thought this pertained to Hammerhead quite well. That finding the second 8 figures, so like the ones we've been discussing, Greedo and Hammerhead and Luke X-Wing, on offerless 20-backs is really hard.
Very hard, yeah.
And I like that. I guess I like that because it doesn't seem like there's that many rookie cards that are offerless.
Yeah, that's true.
And or I don't know, there's just something about it's neat that you wouldn't think it's that rare. Like finding the card front, it's not that hard, but finding that precise card back, and
yeah.
It even took Gus Lopez, who we just spoke to, years to complete his set, which gives you an idea because he at one point had the Death Star, so I think he had some trade bait. But yeah, so we'll include a link to that thread. I thought it was worth mentioning. Do you have any of those, Steve?
No, I don't.
Oh, no, of course.
I never have either.
You're too good for production now. Jeez, Steve.
Oh, come on.
Take you back down to earth. All right, well, let's just give Broc a call just because I want this to be a little more polyvocal. He will rock you. He will roll you.
Feel the heat. We're talking to Broc.
My heat will move your soul. Hello. Is this Broc Walker?
It is.
Excellent.
Hey.
We just I don't know why, but I just wanted to ask you about Hammerhead. What's your history with Hammerhead, Broc?
History of Hammerhead. It was, believe it or not, actually one of my favorite figures as a kid. I know it's kind of a lame thing with the whole blue shirt and all, but I can remember my earliest memory of it, I guess, is playing with it with one of my friends that I went to with the babysitter. He would bring over the droid factory, and for whatever reason, we turned that into some type of dungeon, I guess, because later it became the dungeon, but he actually had it as the droid factory or whatever, but we always had the aliens in there trying to, play like Jabba's palace, whatever, and, just memories of, being at the babysitter's house playing with him and Walrus Man and some of the droids and everything, and, kind of making it a Cantina Jabba palace type thing.
Well, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you see, Steve, I didn't know where we'd go. I just, for some reason, had this intuitive sense that Brock would have a good Hammerhead story.
Looking at the figure though, it's kind of the swimming Jar Jar of its line. It's kind of a lame character that nobody really likes, but the figure's still kind of cool in its own way because it's got that, those swimming hands,
right,
or whatever. And I could see that being played with in puddles and the tub and that kind of stuff growing up.
Right,
It's
yeah.
got those shifty eyes. That's the only figure I can think that's got shifty eyes.
Well, that's when he got his head popped up out of the water just a little bit, he can see before he takes his breath.
Right. And plus he's got all those veins on his arms, right? Am I wrong about that? He's really
no.
Right.
Isn't he really veiny?
He's a tough dude. He's kind of like a Lithuanian basketball player or something. He's got the long arms.
Yeah, I'd say Lithuanian basketball player. And you know what? That jersey, I think we could do that, Steve. Jared,
oh, man.
If you're out there, you got to put Hammerhead on the Lithuanian basketball team.
Maybe Dirk Nowitzki. He's got the blue on.
Oh, come on. Hammerhead isn't that ugly. Oh, man. All right. Well, Brock, I think we'll get back to you later in the show about baseball. But we just wanted to ask you just a quick Hammerhead question before we got back to you.
Well, no problem. Just give me a yell, and I'll be thinking about swimming Hammerhead the rest of the night.
Feel me heat.
And we never force a Jared image. So the fact that the Lithuanian basketball player came about organically is very agreeable. So I look forward to that. So I think we can maybe do our social media update.
Okay.
I don't have a drop for that. I think it's kind of against my religion to have a drop for that. But so Trevor, our tweeter duder, what does he want to be called? Grand Moff Tweeter?
Grand Moff Twitter, I think.
Our tweeter duder. So Steve tells us that follow us on. He really wants us to promote it. We're supposed to say this, Steve. Follow us on Twitter at Chive Cast. Okay?
Okay.
You can also view our timeline, Steve, at twitter.com/ChiveCast. And once again, you spell that Chive Cast, CHIVECAST. So you guys better go do that because Trevor's working hard. We're up to 30 followers from only 18.
Not bad.
Including Gus Lopez.
Right on.
And then he's going to make it his mission to get Rick Springfield to follow us.
All right.
So I love that.
That's great.
He mentions a party idea for C6, pin the shield on Headman. It's like a pin the donkey style game. I like that.
Yeah.
And apparently no one has really directed us about being asked random lightning round questions. So that's only that.
It's on the back burner. We'll get that going.
It's on the back burner. But as far as pleading with our space freaks to support us, we've gotten 5 reviews on iTunes since we asked, which really isn't too bad. And so because of that, Steve, we come up first when searching vintage Star Wars.
That's all you can ask for, right?
We come up third on Star Wars toys.
Okay.
But this is the problem, Steve. We come up nowhere on Star Wars collecting or Star Wars toys.
Ooh.
So I'm going to have to adjust the tags and JPEG the GIF file to make sure that I can PDF my geek.
Well said.
Yes, thank you. He's also said that we are getting beat by these 2 podcasts in the Star Wars toys category. What's on Joe's mind? It's a G.I. Joe podcast.
Ah.
And gay sci-fi nerds.
Okay.
So, we're a gay-friendly podcast. That's fine with me. It's just neither one of those, I imagine, are that dedicated to Star Wars toys.
Not by the sounds of it, no.
Not by the sounds of it. So anyways, but hey, maybe there's some crossover. I thought that was great. What G.I. Joe podcast and gay sci-fi nerds. So come on, guys. Let's get us ahead of those 2. Particularly the G.I. Joe. I don't mind being behind the gay sci-fi nerds, but being behind a G.I. Joe podcast really bugs me. So go onto iTunes, give us a positive rating. I go and check, at least once a week. I love seeing that. I love seeing the 5 stars. Our rating has gone up from before. I don't know what it was, but we had like all these 1-star ratings.
Huh. It's odd.
I guess they really just didn't like you, Steve. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess like you're too abrasive with me or something. I don't. It's probably not your fault, but yeah.
I'll take it. I'll own it.
So that's our report from the Twitterverse from Grand Moff Tutor Duder. Yeah, and so let's get to some of our features, man. This has been a pretty super jam packed thing. I was thinking let's do a vintage vocab. We should do one of those every month. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good thing to get back in the habit of.
It's vintage.
So I've been really racking my brain to figure out how to best integrate Hammerhead. And once again, Hammerhead, I still think every once in a while of Obi-Wan Kenobi in our episode with him. How such a main character got so little attention is just astounding. I think when we finish with 93, we should have a 94th episode, just dedicated to Obi-Wan.
I like that.
But the words I was hoping to discuss today, Steve, were spray ops.
Spray ops, not special ops, but spray ops.
Yeah, it sounds very spyish.
Yeah.
But what is a spray op, Steve?
The only contact I've had with that word would just be talking about the way that the paint's applied to the figures in the factory. Is that?
Yeah. So like how the paint was applied, how the spray of the paint was, I guess, operated. I guess that's what it stands for.
Spelling it out, yeah.
Yeah, spelling it out. So I just thought of, because a lot of people, when it comes to the great veiny Lithuanian basketball player known as Hammerhead, there's a lot of different. You were talking about his shifty eyes. There's a lot of different ways his eyes are painted, and I don't go for the whole variation thing very much. But I do go for shifty-looking Hammerhead eyes going in all different directions. So that was just something. I'm going to try and find as many pictures as I can.
Okay.
And if I can't find them, hey, if someone out there wants to send or post up a picture of a whole bunch of circular eyes, what's that?
For whatever reason, I just had this image of the Brady Bunch squares with these Hammerheads all looking up at each other in different directions.
There you go. Wow. We're giving our audience a lot of work to do. But I know there's a guy, Christian, out of UK, who used to have a spray op focus.
Yeah.
And so he had this cool Hammerhead where there's just no paint at all on his face, which really makes him an even creepier figure.
Yes.
But yes, I just thought, in case you ever see the word spray ops or funky spray ops, not all of our vintage vocab have to be, first shots or chromolins or anything complicated like that. No. I think they can also just be something kind of simple like that. So what do you think, Steve? Was that good?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Not too simple?
No, it's something you'll probably see it quite a bit when you're reading up on stuff, so it's good to know.
Now, I know you collect beat up and weird and messed up figures. Do you pay attention to spray ops?
Not in that sense, no. I mean, if it's a spray up by some twisted kid, yeah. But,
right.
No, as far as the
if it's
variation
a sprayed
stuff,
with BB gun op, then yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but not. And I guess that's the thing, is that they're factory errors. So
right.
I mean, there's something too. I mean, I remember growing up collecting baseball cards. I was certain that every error had to be worth just $1,000, just automatically. And even with figures, like when I would collect modern figures, I would just get fascinated by any kind of little mistake. Or I remember there was a Tusken Raider woman figure with a typo. Well, the Tusken Raider ladies in episode 2.
The modern one? Okay.
Yeah, a woman. female Tusken Raiders. You're the Tusken Raider ladies. Yeah, so there was like a typo on the back of the card back, and I saved it in box, and I was certain that was going to go skyrocketing in value. But anyways, but so there are some people who do like the spray ops.
Yeah.
So good. All right, and as always, Steve, I like to give you the choice. Would you like to go nugget or unloved?
Let's go nugget first.
It is a nugget.
Tis a nugget from the archive. Tis a nugget.
Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
From the archive.
Oh my God, they're gorgeous.
All right, Steve. Well, I had a pretty fun idea for a nugget from the archive that involved calling Todd Chamberlain.
Ooh.
Dr. Todd Chamberlain. But we're going to be calling him next month because he has a bunch of work to do tonight. So that's just going to leave us with old Hammerhead, Steve. What should we talk about? Which Hammerheady thing should we talk about?
So what we got here is the original blueprint and color specification sheet for Hammerhead.
Right. So the blueprint's cool, and I think we've talked about Prune Face's blueprint.
Right.
Only the finest characters. So the blueprint's great because that was the original drawing of the figure and how it was going to look and its height and its texture.
Yeah.
But then there's this color specification sheet. What's that about?
So it looks like what they do is they take a photocopy and just hand color in with markers or whatnot to kind of just get an idea of what they want the color scheme to turn out to be. And the one here it doesn't have that nice teal blue man suit or whatever you want to call that thing. Ron calls it a leotard. I think that's better.
What's a man suit, Steve?
I don't know. Oh, you know what? I was thinking of Donnie Darko. I don't know why. It just came to mind.
Oh, is that a term they use?
Yeah. Well,
what are you doing wearing that man suit?
Yeah.
Steve, do you have a giant hammerhead that kind of walks around and talks to you and helps you travel through time?
In fact, I do.
Okay.
I gotta come clean right now. I'm sorry. I need help.
Yeah. Let's do some fan fiction with Steve and Hammerhead. Just redoing Donnie Darko with Steve and Hammerhead. Or you wearing that man suit? So man, that'd be a really good movie, Steve. He was asking, what do you call it? A leotard? I don't know. Is it a leotard? I kind of call it like a onesie.
Yeah, I think onesie's good. And I just remembered Michael, a comment from his market thing, which we'll get to, but he refers to it as a mankini, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, I think we can all call it whatever we want to, Steve.
Yeah. To each their own.
Yes.
Go to chivecast.com to vote on the first ever Chivecast poll. What should be the official name of Hammerhead's outfit? Should it be called A, a leotard, B, a mankini, C, a onesie, or D, a man suit? Go to chivecast.com to make your voice heard. This is important. Now let's get back to our previously held discussion about the Nuggety Hammerhead blueprint in color.
So the color in here, it's not the teal. It's almost the same color as his body.
Right. Now, I'm trying to remember, do you actually ever really get a good look at what color clothing he's wearing in the movie itself? It seems like it's brown, right?
Yeah, it probably is brown. I only remember his head, because, here, let me look up Monma Nadon. That's his name, right? Monma? Oh, yeah. Who knows? Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it is.
It is?
Okay. Yeah, Steve, I know all about the expanded universe. He does wear kind of a sort of earthy, colory tunic. Yeah, okay. In the modern figures, he's got kind of a tunic and he's got like a belt and he's still fairly veiny. I think they went the furthest in the veiny bulginess in the vintage era. So I why do you think they changed it, Steve?
I mean, I guess just to be more eye-catching, that'd be the one reason I'd think of. But I don't know. I mean,
it looks way better. He just looks weird in this picture. We'll put up a link to it, but it almost looks like when you're watching the Olympics and the skaters have like those like the nude pantyhose that goes over the skate.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, her foot is like connected. Like you have.
She has blades on her feet.
Exactly, she's got blades on her feet. So I think that's how it would have looked if they didn't go with the teal. But great, Steve. Now I'm imagining Hammerhead ice skating. He's just a figure of imagination, isn't he, Steve?
Yes.
Oh man, awesome. Well, I think that's a pretty good nugget. If you haven't checked it out, this is what happened to me, Steve. I just kind of assume, I'm sure all of the blueprints are great, but they're all basically the same. I've seen them all. I've never really been forced to think about the idea that, this color, this distinctive color, was a choice by Kenner to go against the movie to make a better toy and a better product.
Yeah, that about sums it up. That's right.
That about sums it up. All right, cool. Well, for every up, there's a down. So let's talk about the unloved item.
You don't hate, only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. The unloved and the unnatural.
All right, so I just played the new drop you just heard for Steve for the first time. What did you think, Steve?
Good stuff, man. That was perfect.
Yeah, do you know what that's from?
I don't, but it's just what it needed, though. What is that?
Maybe we should leave it out there.
Okay.
For people to try and
see
figure it
if
out.
we can have someone figure it out, because I never heard that little bit before, but.
Well, all I can tell you is it's somebody who you don't normally associate with talking. Interesting. Okay. So the unnatural object of hate that I thought of talking about today. Part of what I do for the unloved items is I kind of go to the other collectible section of the Rebel Scum forums, and I just sort of look around and say, I haven't really thought about that in a while.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'd seen this before, but I just haven't really thought much about it, Steve.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
It's the Jim Dandy playset.
Yeah.
So can you describe this thing, Steve?
So it's described here, Scout Walker Command Tower with speeder bike ride. So it's like a nice little fort for your backyard that I guess the top of it's supposed to be the cockpit of a Scout Walker, which may mean that I might need to get one.
Yes, I think you do, Steve. You now have a justification for the
yeah. But no, it looks really fun, but I think as someone else commented, it looks like quite a bit of a safety hazard as well.
Yeah, it's this really thin, stilted thing, and it's got Return of the Jedi branded on it.
Yeah,
I don't remember that on the Scout Walkers.
No, not quite.
But the swing with the speeder bike just looks awesome.
Yes.
I had this weird memory. My parents, we used to live in New Hampshire in this terrible, frightening house. And I must have been really young because I only have two memories. One was like crying myself to sleep because the shadows on the wall.
Well, that's rough.
And the other one was we had this swing that had like this wicker chair, like covering put over it. And my brother said, "Hey, it's the Millennium Falcon." And so I would just spend all my time on the swing, just pretending it's on the Millennium Falcon.
There you go.
If I had a playset like this,
oh man,
yeah, I don't know if this is unloved as much as it is kind of unknown.
Yeah, maybe that's true. But I'm in the same boat. I'd seen it before, but I had not thought about it in a long time until you sent me. This is great.
But to see it is to love it.
Yes.
And what's great too is you in the background, so they have this painting, and you have these two kids up top, and then this way too young kid on the speeder bike swing.
It looks like he's just kind of almost cut and pasted on there. It's
right.
weird.
And then super cut and pasted is this sort of tan Labrador who's just apparently out of nowhere watching everybody up top there. And then in the back, you have all the important ships from Return of the Jedi. You got the TIE Interceptor. You got the Death Star. You got the Millennium Falcon. You got the A-Wing. You got them all, Steve.
You don't have the B-Wing, though. What gives?
Oh, I wasn't going there with that, Steve.
See, I'm good at talking trash to myself.
You are good at
actually.
talking to yourself. But the thing I'm most curious about is the 4-sound electronic console.
Yeah.
Now, according to Chris Georgoulias, he has seen one of those put together.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe he knows what it sounds like. But yeah, we'll have to ask. Maybe he'll post that. But yeah. Oh yeah. Here's the full description. Jim Dandy brings Jedi excitement to America's backyards. Little Jedi Knights can swing on this sturdy speeder bike and activate 4 great sound effects: laser cannons, turnstile guns, scout walker, and proton torpedoes.
All classic? That's good.
Yeah, all classic and all good. So, excellent. That was the unloved item of the month, Steve.
Excellent choice.
It is both hated and unnatural. And we have a pretty awesome market watch, so let's move on to the $1 Blix.
All right.
$1 Vlix. Market Watch. All right, Steve. Well, on this Market Watch, we need to be honest. One, I just figured out that I was using the wrong microphone almost the whole episode. So if you notice varying sound quality, you get what you pay for. That and the conversation with Gus actually went, after I hit stop, we wound up talking a lot about all of the what are the secret exclusive cool things going to be for the party, and a lot more details like that. So long and the short of it is, we've been talking on these here microphones for a while, Steve, eh?
Yes, we have.
It is, but I'm feeling Jim Dandy. How about you, Steve?
I'll go with that.
All right, good. So what do we got as far as the Market Watch?
All right, so once again, we got 2 correspondents stepping up big time. Michael comes through with a ton of Hammerhead stuff, so we'll start with that. We start off with a couple of 20 backs. These are with the Boba Fett offers, so not the super rare ones, but the first one went for $125, and the second one went for $213, and they look like they're both about. They're not. I think those are both ungraded, so it's kind of interesting that there's a bit of a disparity there, but
right, yeah.
Yeah.
They're about they're once, twice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The other.
Yeah, no, that's my bad. Actually, yeah, they're both 20 backs. The second one actually does have the printed offer on there, so that probably has something to do with it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so that one went for $213, so you jump up from there, and then a big jump up for a 21 back AFA 85, and I have to say the picture just looks gorgeous, but that one sold for $799.
Wow.
Whew. But my goodness.
Yeah, the difference in those prices is amazing.
Yeah. It's just something I've just realized is really funny about this card is that he's looking directly at himself when the way they package.
Yeah, that's true. Because he's faced to the right, and then the picture is faced to the left.
Now, is there ever a time where Hammerhead's face is pointing the other way? And all these, I think he's pointing.
I'm sure there is. There has to be.
Every one of these is all looking right at. That's funny.
That's good. Well, you know what? You know me. I love my existential figures. So maybe he's permanently stuck contemplating his 2D form or his 3D form.
Oh, good deal. All right. So up next we got a 21 back. This one's offerless and sold for $280, and that was an AFA 75.
Wow. So the difference between an 85 and a 75.
And a 75
is like $500.
Yeah. It's pretty big.
Right.
And then you go down from there, an ungraded 21 back goes for $127.50. So you really start to see the difference. But
right.
My goodness.
And again, when we talk about entering into the realm of vintage collecting, this is a perfectly nice carded figure for $120. Star Wars era, full of nostalgia, good condition, $120.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not too much if you stay away from the AFA madness. So all right, so is that all of the Star Wars
Yeah, those are all the Star Wars cards that we got here. The next up we have an Empire 31B. That's an AFA 85, and that sold for $232. So you see a big drop from the Star Wars card to the Empire card, but
Right, because they're both AFA 85. So
yep,
it would cost you over $1,000 to get 2 Hammerhead figures.
Yep. Oh, poor Hammerhead collectors, man. This is rough.
Yeah.
So then, ungraded an Empire 47 back, and this kind of ties into the whole yellow bubble thing. You can start to see it's going that way. But that one sold for $53, so it's a big jump down there. And then, I think that's the last of the carded stuff we have. But
Wow, so no Return of the Jedi.
no, not this go around. Let's see.
Just have to leave it with Brock and his little backyard shenanigans with his friend.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Now we got a couple loose Hammerheads. One is in a bag from the Sears Cantina playset, and that one sold for $90. So there's a bagged figure for $90.
Huh.
And let's see. Up next, we have an AFA, just regular, not uncirculated. And that one was an AFA 90 for $80.
Wait, so you could get a baggie from a Sears Cantina playset, which is like a really rare baggie, for $90.
Right.
Or you could just get it loose and high graded for $80.
Yes. Interesting.
You know, it's weird. You never know when it's going to be a referendum on AFA grading. Like sometimes you look at the prices and it's not that dramatic, and then sometimes it's just whoa.
Yeah. And these last two, this is something that I always kind of found funny, is some eBay sellers like to put their items in odd locales, and this is where the whole Mankini thing came from. We got a Hammerhead hanging out at the beach, and that one sold for $650, a loose figure. And I guess the Chaparral is not quite as nice as the beach property, so that one only sold for $3.25.
Oh, right, yeah, there's one where he's just like sitting out in the middle of like the scrub brush.
Yeah.
But there, his shifty eyes, I like his shifty eyes in that one better.
Ooh, yeah.
The way he's looking off, like, I don't know. Looks like he's almost always looking right, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but this one, he looks even more suspicious than usual. Like he's thinking there's a mountain lion around him or something.
Yeah, it looks like he's like maybe like, I don't know, like human trafficking along the Mexico-Arizona border, you know?
That could be it, too.
It's like a coyote, you know?
Oh, I like that. That's good.
You know, not some kind of, a tree-hugging maniac.
No.
And then Frat Boy Pete.
Yes.
Which actually, Steve, I don't know if you saw. Did you see the discussion about screen names?
I did. I caught it when it first started. I don't know how deep they went into that, but that was Pete who started that thread.
Yeah, Pete started it because his name is Frat Boy 24. And to be honest, Steve, when I saw that, I'm like, this is not somebody I'd ever want to talk to. That's just my first reaction when I see Frat Boy. But, then he contacted us, and he had a lot of good topics, and he's been a great help. And
oh, yeah.
Don't judge a book by its cover, and don't judge a human by his screen name.
No.
But, I mean, as always, it's coming up to be Celebration. Chive Party! It's coming to be Celebration, and if you are at the archive party and you're saying hello to somebody, it can't hurt to have a real name, but you can say Pete Frat Boy, that's fine too. Anyways, so where was I going with that, Steve?
We're going into our general auction updates from Pete. This is all sorts of vintage Star Wars stuff that we got. The first one we have is a Tauntaun mint and sealed box, and it sold for $600. Wow. And that's not graded or anything. It's just sealed. So Pete was commenting that usually those are more in the 200 to 300 range. So that's quite a big jump for that.
Right.
Let's see, what else do we have here? We have a couple things related to the Return of the Jedi AT Walker. I had to say that for you.
Well pronounced.
This one was just a boxed one. Or no, I'm sorry. No, it was graded. Minute sealed box, AFA 80, $1,200.
Huh.
Whew. And what's crazy about this is that a proof for the same item sold for, let's see, what was it? About half of that. So you could have a proof, which is one of only a couple probably out there.
That's just crazy.
And that sold for $660, and that was from the collection of Tom Neinheisel. So Yeah, that's just a crazy
in case you don't know
contrast.
who he is, he's an ex-Kenner employee, and if you own any photo art, it's probably because of him. He saved a bunch of stuff.
He did.
And yeah, it's a proof. It's not just a box flat. It's an actual proof.
It's a proof, yeah.
And it's probably one of a kind. And
yeah, half of the cost of the graded sealed production toy.
I think that means that we should be spending more money on proofs.
Maybe. No, stop it.
I mean, definitely, it's great. Yeah, don't.
No. Let's see. You got a couple of good things here. We have, let's see, a Tatooine skiff, which I always thought was a cool thing, but they just seem like they're like really sought after. But it always seems like whenever you actually get one, to find one in like complete condition is a rarity. But this is one that's still boxed and graded 75. I don't think it's sealed, but that one sold for $570.
Right.
And let's see.
No, that's just a great scene with them all.
Oh yeah,
fighting.
I love the Power of the Force artwork, and that they actually had original paintings for the stuff. I think it's kind of a fun contrast. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah. We'll talk about it again, Steve.
Yes, we will.
26 episodes.
Still pulling for stuff, We'll see. Oh yeah, okay. So we got another prototype gold Darth Vader case, and this one sold for $650. And I guess there was one somewhat recently that sold, but it's just kind of interesting to see one pop up again so soon.
Right.
Let's see. And I think we got two more things to go here.
Okay.
We got an early bird mailer kit with a double telescoping Luke, and that one sold for $13.58. So I think I lose track of those. I know we've talked about those quite a bit, but let's see.
Yeah, no, we gotta get Steve. We gotta get a Market Watch watcher. So someone who goes through all of our Market Watches and tells us what the same thing sold for the last time.
We need Miss the 80s. That's what we need.
We do, yeah. We need Miss the 80s to be a Market Watch watcher.
Yeah, because
a $2 Blix.
Yes, $2 Blix
section.
All right. Lastly, we have the Revenge of the Jedi Rebel Transport proof sheet, AFA 90. That's got to be a lot of acrylic. So that one sold for $617. So that's more close to what the Walker proof sold for. So it's interesting that, I don't know.
Well, just those large proofs are so hard to display.
That's true. Broc is always like, he just gives me a hard time about having to ship a B-wing pilot or a B-wing box proof across the country for me. He's like, man, I should have just. You should have just come get it.
You should have just built a B-wing.
Yeah, seriously. No, the big proofs they're definitely tough to figure out what to do with. But yeah, that's a Revenge one that sold for a little over $600. So
right,
not bad.
Yeah, that's cool. And also, Pete mentions that it wasn't even sold in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Much less in Revenge of the Jedi. So yeah. Awesome. Well, Steve, looks like our correspondents have done our work for us.
Oh, yeah. Very well.
That's sweet, man. We got to get correspondence for how to edit the show. Correspondence for coming up with stupid ideas about 17th century philosophers.
But that's for the interns.
Yeah, that's interns, yeah. Yeah, we'll go down to the colleges. All right, man, cool. I think that just leads us into our feedback section.
Sounds good.
Steve, feedback.
Oh man, it was a good one. We got a good group of stuff here.
Yeah, it was just a great episode. I really liked. I had fun editing it. I don't mean that sound arrogant, but I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Definitely, people loved Alan.
Yeah.
What I liked was I didn't know where Jared was going to go because just a card back with Alan on it would have been kind of boring. But he went with the Topps card.
It was even better.
Which is perfect. Steve, do you think Scott Bradley actually just makes stuff up?
I
Every single month he comes up with something amazing and like intricate detail that completely helps us. And so here he claims that Lucas originally chose a guy named Alan Son of Frank to record the Huttese for Greedo in Star Wars, but he turned it down. The dialogue was spoken by Larry Ward. Now, how in the world does he... I mean, I know that the school system in Canada is better than it is down here in the United States of America.
Yeah.
But really, that's a level of trivia that I anyways, that's awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then we had some more comments. We learned that the Tim Mee Galaxy Laser team that was sold in the United States.
Right.
And this was I believe it was Beanie out of Boston.
Chris,
Chris, right.
Yep.
And said he bought his back at Woolworths, the same aisle as Star Wars toys.
Go figure.
Yeah. And Steve, he also mentioned Klaatu. Did you pick up on the Klaatu thread on the?
I did. That was it was good. Because I gotta say I like the kind of obscure Return of the Jedi characters that no one cares about.
And so I think they noticed that we tend to dump on Klaatu a lot.
Yeah.
It's just the skiff guard, that's all. It's just the bitterness that he got 2 figures and Chewie only got 1. Yeah. So that's how we came about the B-wing skiff guard.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, and then Jonathan, Raven 70p.
That's a good one.
Yeah, what does that mean, Raven 7DP? We finally figured out the JEDI is online thing from last time. But
I could have sworn that, you know what, I think I know what it is. I think I've actually talked to Jonathan about this.
Okay.
I think there was a bar in Indiana Jones called the Raven.
Oh.
And then 7, I'm not sure about 7, but DP, he does camera work, so I think that's where that comes from.
Oh, okay, like director of photography.
Yeah, right. No,
okay.
I'm pretty sure way back when I was talking to him about Indiana Jones for whatever reason, I think I asked him, and I'm pretty sure it's along those lines. But
do we need to have like a new section of Skye and Steve decipher screen names?
We've got a good list going.
We've got a bunch. We've already talked about Miss the 80s and Jason Line and all that, but I almost even went into wondering where Beanie was, where that came from. But hey, don't tell me. We have to save something for April, Steve.
Yes.
But yeah, so he mentioned that he was reading the Smithsonian Magazine, which I assume all of our listeners do when they're not listening to the Chive Cast. And what does he talk about there, Steve?
All right, so he's talking about an article called "Speaking American," which gives into the Dictionary of American Regional English, DARE, and it's just all these phrases used around the nation for different purposes and different meanings. But what he found was the word "wampus," and he says here, to quote the writer, almost a whole page of DARE is dedicated to wampus, a southern term for a variety of real creatures, such as wild horse, and imagined ones, such as swamp wampuses and whistling wampuses.
Great whistling wampuses!
Exactly. Now, Jonathan, he's lived in the South his whole life, and he says he's never come across this word, so maybe some listeners can chime in and give further proof that this word is in the vernacular.
I love it.
It's great, man.
Well, I've heard some kind of wampus out there. We should have asked Broc.
See, you hear like cattywampus or whatever, but or something like that. But I've never seen it just isolated like that. But that's just interesting.
Yeah, some kind of wampus out there. I like it, and it seems to make sense that would be where it comes from.
Yeah. Man.
Wait, do they ever say the word wampa in the movie?
Not in the movie. No, not that No. I think that's more just the kid in the commercial.
No, I know that, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah,
No, what I mean is, so they never say that, because they say tauntaun, right?
Yeah, they do say tauntaun.
But they never say wampa.
No. Not unless it's in that cutscene, which I have not watched, but...
Oh, right. Yeah, because not only are you too good for production target, you're too good to watch the Blu-rays. Oh, man. Who would have thought, Steve, between the two of us, you'd become the snob?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I wear it proudly.
Nobody who's listening would think that. Yeah, that's great, Jonathan. So thank you for the. I think we'll keep it Wampa Wampa, but knowing the origin of Wampus is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then Steve, I think at this point we should just say goodbye to our listeners who are not interested in fantasy baseball.
Okay.
We're going to call Broc back, and we're just going to talk a little bit about the history of the league, and maybe talk a little bit about our teams. Not too much, but just a little bit, because it's part of the fun of this show. And if you like this show and you hate fantasy baseball, you have to understand that part of the reason the show exists is because Steve and I can also talk about something that isn't the show. Which I think helps keeps the show going and fresh, you know.
Yeah, and the whole league thing is totally, you know, community related to the hobby.
And that's what everything's all about: creating communities and creating sections. So let's get back to Broc, and if we'll say a temporary, you know what, Steve? Maybe we can whenever we have to leave some of our audience members behind, we can just say one single Wampus.
Wampus, yeah.
Wampus. And then we'll give the real Wampa Wampa at the very end.
All right.
All right, sounds good. Let's call Broc back.
He will rock you. He will roll you.
Feel the heat. We're talking to Broc.
You know. My heat will move your soul.
And we're back with Broc. How's it going, Broc?
Yeah, it's good. Good to be back.
Good. So we've kind of warned everybody that we're going to talk a little bit about fantasy baseball right now.
Better than fantasy cricket, though, right?
Yes, it's better than fantasy cricket. I still don't have any idea. Even when people tried to help us with that, we don't understand it. But
no.
But it was our big draft last week, Broc. How do you think it went?
For most of you, it probably went pretty well. For me personally, not so much. My team's not, looking the best on paper right now. But it's a long season, so we'll see.
First of all, I was curious a little bit of the history of it. How long have you been doing it?
I don't have an exact time amount, but I'd say probably around 8 or 9 years, I guess. We started it way back, when Rebel Scum kind of first started getting going real good, around 03, 04, I guess, maybe. And
wow.
It's something that we get together every year, and we have a good time. And
all right, thanks, bro.
All right, we'll see we'll see you both on the forums and on the field.
All right, sounds good. See y'all then.
All right, bye.
Feel my heat. Feel my heat. Yeah, it's definitely cool. Let's lay it down.
Star Wars figure.
All right, well, there was our next talk with Broc, and I look forward to you hearing the drop, Steve.
I can't wait.
the Boogie Nights Broc drop. I don't know if he's a fan of that movie, but actually, to tell you the truth, Steve, I think you and Broc are kind of like... You're kind of like John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg in that movie. I mean, you guys are hanging out at the cons together. I could see you.
Oh man. Oh Lord.
But anyways, so we're actually, this is once again recording. We're doing pickups. So we didn't even record an outro. We lost the intro, and we didn't even record an outro because we just got so nerdy about baseball.
Yes.
So we're going to see you next month. And the one thing I want to say is really make sure, if you want to sponsor, if you want to be a part of the archive party, email me, chivecast@gmail.com, because those are going quickly.
Right on. Steve, that's going to be great.
Are you a sponsor?
I will put myself down, yeah.
All right, I'm a sponsor too. So
all right, sweet.
That means there's a maximum of 18 spots left already.
All right.
All right. Oh, actually, no, wait, a couple more. So there's probably about 15 spots left. You gotta go. Act now. All right. Cool. Well, we'll see you next month, everybody. Wampa Wampa.
Adios.
This podcast is not endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited, Hasbro Toys, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. The official Star Wars site can be found at www.starwars.com. The official Hasbro site can be found at www.hasbro.com. Star Wars, all names and sounds of Star Wars characters and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or the respective copyright and trademark holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Star Wars Collectors Archive, unless otherwise